no, technically he's very good, so he can play as an attacking midfielder. You watch him run the box. No, he likes a killer pass. No, he likes creating chances, but he's a really good passer of the ball. And as I say, he's tenacious. No, he doesn't mind a tackle, so he can do that more kind of defensive side of it as well. I certainly don't think he'll be Russell Martin's sitter in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that'll be Nico Raskin, assuming he's still at Ibrox, or whether it'll be somebody else coming in that position, I don't think that'll be Rothwell's position. I very much think that he will be the number, no, one of the number 8s. I know he's taking the number 6, isn't he, for his shot number, but I think he'll be one of the number 8s for Rangers next season. I think it'll be a certain starter. You always talk about, when you talk about recruitment, it feels like for a few years now, we've said Rangers need to sign guys that are ready-made, ready to get into that first team. I think Rothwell is certainly one of those. No, he's not coming to sit in the bench. He'll be a first pick in central midfield next season.
I'm finding it quite interesting, right? Because see, if you take them on their own, I don't think anybody would be overly excited by the names and the profiles of the players that Rangers are going for right now. Early in this market, but as we were sort of discussing last night, there's a really interesting pattern emerging here. There's a very decent level of player that they're bringing in, and they are tried and tested. And I think that gives Rangers a bit of reason to hope. You know, it's not, and there has been, you know, the previous summer windows, you've seen almost like a scattergun approach, and they're bringing them in from here, there, and everywhere, and a lot of them kind of younger, project-looking players. I think the Rangers fans should be quietly excited about the fact that these guys are all really decent levels of experience behind them, be that at the top end of the Championship or the you know, mid to lower part of the Premier League. Bournemouth have done exceptional. And these guys obviously haven't just been able to hold down regular places at Bournemouth, but that doesn't make them bad players. It means they were very good players to get to that level in the first place. Yeah. So I kind of like the look of the strategy behind what Rangers are doing early in this window. And as we said last night, I think it is important to try and keep a British core. And clearly, Russell Martin is going for players who he knows really well, whether having worked with them or been up against them. This is a market he knows and understands. I think there's every reason for Rangers to be pretty pleased with the direction of travel. They're a million miles away from where they need to be, but this is quite a promising start, an interesting start.
In terms of Rothwell as well, Jacko, is he just playing at Leeds last season? I know Rangers have obviously this kind of link with Leeds now, but you know yourself how big a club Leeds United are.
Yeah.
No, the crowd at Ellen Road, no, the expectation there, no, to get them promoted last season, which wasn't easy given the competition the teams they were up against at the top of that league. But the fact he's went there, no, he's not just went there and been a bit part player. I think it was like 28 starts, 36 appearances, something like that for Leeds.
Well, he's a bit of a mainstay last season, wasn't he?
Aye. Vital player for him, and as I say, just to cope with the pressure of playing with Leeds. Listen, I think probably the intensity and the level of expectation will be even greater at Rangers. But the fact that he's dealt with that, the fact that he's experienced that at Leeds, I think that's another key factor in why he'll be a really good signing for them.
Just to play devil's advocate, some of the comments coming in. ASP says he's 30, ageing, terrible recruitment, and Mark says Keith decent. Is that the level Rangers are looking for? Seriously,
I would point you to previous transfer windows and talk to me about the level of player that was coming in
when it wasn't decent.
Because decent would have been an upgrade.
Big upgrade.
No, I'm talking about really quite dependable, experienced guys, and if you can reach that level in English football right now, getting to a Bournemouth, that level of the Premier League, a kind of a club which has established itself in the top flight of English football over the years, you're probably more than decent. And I think the thinking behind this will be, well, and there is a little bit of this, I get that, with Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin's track record, there might probably be this idea that, well, if you can do it in the English Premier League, then you'll walk it in the Scottish Premiership. That rule has been proven over and over again not to be true.
See Joey Barton
and a list of others. But I like the age, I like the profile. As I said to you, Rangers have got miles to go in this transfer window because there's so much work to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that these are a very interesting and a very decent level of signing. And at points, I think, to Rangers having more of a sense of a structure about them next season than they have had. And you know, a core in the dressing room of leaders, and that's what Celtic have had over them for all this time. That Rangers collection of players, for a number of reasons, and not least because of the amount of managers that have been in charge of the transfer windows, it's like waifs and strays. They've got a collection of waifs and strays in there.
Aye.
This one was bought by that one by this one.
Signings from like 5 different managers.
Yeah, and what you're seeing here is, I think, an attempt to try and put a bit of glue into the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
This core element of British guys with a very good level of experience. And I think that'll be vital, and I think it's something Rangers have been missing for a long time, which is why I find it, and I'll use the word again, interesting. I think I can see what they're trying to do here, and I see the sense in it.
And in terms of Rothwell's age, Daniel, I mean, 30, I don't think 30 is even that old now for the way football is now. But Rangers, you look at their midfield just now, I mean, you think Raskin, Diomande and Barron, I mean, they're all early 20s, very early 20s, so you could argue they need a bit of experience in there. And I agree with I agree with Jack. Although Raskin, Diomande are really good players, I felt at times last season, especially, individually they would look decent in certain games, but they were playing as individuals. There wasn't a glue there. There was no cohesion really. Certain games, obviously, they played well, but I think Rangers need a bit of experience in there, a bit of know-how. A guy that's experienced what Rothwell has done south, as I say, at clubs like Leeds. So I think getting a 30-year-old in there alongside these younger guys isn't a bad
I think
move.
they've been crying out for it, Scott. I genuinely think they've been crying out for a while. So, yeah, I'll be really interested to see how this develops from here. And, you know, Rangers fans will get their first look at the weekend. Rangers are playing Bruges at the weekend?
Sunday, yeah.
So they'll get the first look at what the Russell Martin signature style is as well as probably looking at one or two of these new players that have been brought in. We expect Connor Cody could probably be done by that time. Another, I think, really important signing for them. And there's another couple of centre-halves that Rangers are looking at just now, which he clearly needs. He needs to get the numbers up. But I think what you're seeing here is that the core kind of values, the core signings that he's looking for are experienced guys that have played at a very decent level in English football, better than decent. And I can see this sense in trying to, you know, it's almost sort of underpin the dressing room and bring it together in a way that has not been there for a number of seasons now.
Scott, Keith mentioned some of that. I might as well touch on these before we move on. Our colleague Andy Newport has filed a story for Record Sport Online saying he understands 3 of the players. One is Emmanuel Fernandez, who's the centre-back at Peterborough. Ishi Samuel-Smith, who is a left-back, plays for Chelsea. I think he's captain of Chelsea's under-21 team. And the other one is Nasser Giga, who is a Wolves centre-back, used to play for Red Star Belgrade. He cost Wolves £10 million in the January transfer window, but he's not really made any sort of impact yet.
A big boy, very.
He's been linked with a loan move to Ibrox, and obviously all 3 of them are defenders, Scott. You can see where the emphasis is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know too much about the Chelsea boy, I must admit. In terms of the Peterborough centre-half, I know for a fact that Rangers are definitely speaking to Peterborough about trying to get Fernandez. They see him as a promising defender with a bit of development in him. So I think they're talking to Peterborough just now and trying to get a deal done. in terms of Giga at Wolves, I mean, that's obviously come out today, and I think it's came from a good source down in that kind of area. You're right. I mean, it'd be an interesting one. £10 million Wolves paid for him from Red Star, and he hasn't quite adapted to the Premier League. I think he's played a handful of games. I think when he got his Premier League debut, he got taken off at half time because he wasn't playing too well. He's obviously taken a bit of time to get used to it. We know it's a tough league, but he looks as if he's certainly got all the physical attributes, and the fact that Wolves paid that kind of money for him, tells you that they've seen something in him, and there's talk of this loan move without.
Hey, Scotty. This is Wolves. This is the same Wolves that spent a fortune in Fabio Silva.
I was going to say that.
I know, exactly. I know.
35 million.
I know.